Wonderful day, wonderful day, wonderful day. This is your neighborhood Sensei Fouché, telling all y'all stay woke. But relax, relax, and take notes. One thing I communicate about regularly is one word: commitment. And if we're wondering what a commitment is, and just in generic understanding, I'm sure that you could simply define it. But we're going to be extremely specific for the point of reference and relevance. So a commitment is simply an agreement or a pledge to do something. In this definition, they add on in the future, but when you agree at that moment, like, you commit to something. I mean, the next moment, true indeed, is the future, but don't think of some 6 months down the line. I mean, it could be, but at the same time, it could be in the next 5 minutes, in the next 5 seconds, not specifically in some distant future. You know what I'm saying? So, again, a commitment is an agreement or a pledge to do something. No different than the simple word promise. You make a promise. That's a commitment. Relationship, right? The way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. Of course, they use reference into by blood, which means like blood relation, family, or marriage. Friendship. That's a relationship. It's not the deepest of an intimate relationship, but it is an intimate relationship. And don't be homophobic, you know what I'm saying? Because it has less to do with the physical action of sexuality and more into having a close connection. Having a job. That's a relationship. That's a commitment. You know what I'm saying? When you apply for a job, your hopes is to work and make income. You know what I'm saying? And upon the interview process, they ask you questions in regards to how qualified you may be and how assertive you are into completing tasks or understanding tasks to be in need of completion. You know what I'm saying? And upon exchange conversation and certain requests, probably by you in reference to what kind of salary are you possibly looking for, and they'll let you know in response how much they're willing to pay. And they already have a set price of what they're looking to pay for that position. Now, depending on the interview process and how positive or negative that may go, more in detriment to what you need, because there's other people that want that job, so somebody's gonna get it if it's not you. But once there's an understanding as far as the details of what the job requires, and you agree to take the position, then there's a commitment or a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because now you agreed to have a responsibility and be in a scheduled form of place to be able to assist and work within the required tasks that they require upon offering you the position, and you agreeing to accept the position in all of the explained specifics in what the job and the salary is going to entail at the moment of agreement or acceptance for you. I mean, between the both parties of the employer and the employee, there is an equal agreement. And, you'll sign documents and papers stating that, yes, I accepted this job, the salary that they offered. Yes, I accept that. Conditions and certain, what would we call them? Trying to think of the darn word, man. But anyway, liability. That was the word I was looking for. Liability. Because if you don't stay in requirement in the specifics and following detail of what the job entails from a deeper perspective in that responsibility, there could be liabilities attached in how you interact within the construct of the job representing the company. And if I confused you by trying to be patient in the process of delivering words, simply when you relate in strong example to a customer, like you can't speak disrespectfully to the customer because you're not in a good mood at the moment. Like the job doesn't care that you had an argument with your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend, before you left the house, or when you was on the phone on the way to work or whatever. Like they don't care about that. Once you clock in to your job, then your commitment changes primarily to the responsibilities of that position. And if there are any compromises within you fulfilling your responsibilities and staying in accordance as far as attitude and assertiveness, then you're in liability of the agreement of accepting the job and them offering you the position. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a strain, and there is going to be consequences and decisions attached to not fulfilling your commitment in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I brought that up for a reason. And the reason is, when we talk about change, there is not less of a commitment to what you promise someone else and more of a commitment to what you are going to promise yourself instead of someone else. So if I messed up my wording initially, it's less about what you promise to someone else, and it's most about what you promise to yourself. Because in breaking the promise to yourself, that is easily going to be recognized by the person that you spoke in sharing what you're hoping to accomplish, or you make a promise or commitment to. You know what I'm saying? Because when they leave or they're no longer around for whatever reason, like, you still have to live with yourself and your conditions. Like, once they decide to move on from your lack of commitment, like, they're not gonna have to deal with the displeasure of consistently being let down by your lack of assertiveness and truth and honesty into the promises of commitment. You know, so when we talking about the power of now, Eckhart Tolle, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment, Eckhart, Eckhart, last name Tolle, and this is a guide. This is just basically an explanation into tools and thought processing to no longer go through the continuous pain of suffering and disappointment of living your life in the lack of commitment that it requires for change to seriously be recognized and effective. You know what I'm saying? You need to be in complete understanding and having a different relationship within yourself and being completely honest in your observance moving forward, assessing your movements and focus towards those commitments. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not fully in, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to succeed. You know what I'm saying? You can't be half-stepping. You can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out and talk about you want to be swimming. If you have 1 foot in the pool and 1 foot out of the pool, that tells me more than likely you're not trying to swim, but you're trying to convince me that you're making an effort. You know what I'm saying? But if you really wanted to swim, you would already have both feet in the pool and in the process of positioning yourself in the aspect of swimming. You know what I'm saying? But that's just a loose analogy to specifically state that if you aren't serious about anything that you make a promise towards, like, it is not going to fulfill itself. And in terms of relationships or people or necessary connections and for life stability, like, those things are gonna be short-lived and cut off from you most immediately after discovered that you lack a strong honesty and commitment. So again, the power of now, Eckhart Tolle. And I am going to finish reading through chapter 4, which is Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. And what that basically is stating in full definition is that your mind, or that conscious con, doesn't want to be dismissed from abusing the body. your unconscious moving autopilot. You know what I'm saying? So it creates your thought processing to glitch, which has been a continuous thing for a long time. So it's just, you're comfortable with the glitch or the problem still being connected to you because you believe that that's what you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So you'll create problems to validate the fact that nothing good is ever supposed to happen to you, or you're never supposed to accomplish anything because you're a loser, and that is the destiny that was given to you in your birthright and chart. You know what I'm saying? So you lack confidence, and you let other people imply, or not even other people, but you create a misery within yourself to feel within yourself first, or not deep within yourself, but within your simple thought processing. You'll believe negative things about yourself, as far as not having the deepest of an observation, but a superficial observation. And in that superficial observation, you're going to create a high level of devaluation and lack of confidence, and you will allow for people to treat you how you think that you should be treated, because you don't believe that you have any value or worth or deserve any good fortune. You know what I'm saying? So that goes into going further into our reading, and then our subtitle within the title of the chapter. We're going to start at wherever you are, be totally there. And that's what I was trying to say. Be totally there. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not all the way in, then the possibility of these changes actually working and succeeding is going to be minimal, or it won't happen at all. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. When you complain, you make yourself into a victim. When you speak out, you are in your power. You know what I'm saying? Passive aggressiveness and not being assertive, and that doesn't mean rude, as far as initiating conversation and communicating feelings or expressing confusion, like that's important. And if you don't do that, then you're playing in to the victim role, which you're going to express on the back end after the allowance of discourtesy or disrespect takes place in how you function and move in relation to your thought processing. People pick up on that, you know what I'm saying? And the more that they pick up on that, and you feel comfortable in being or living that way, then they're going to follow through in how you lead for them to treat you, and how you think about yourself first. So change the situation by taking action or speaking out if necessary or possible. Leave the situation or accept it. All else is madness. Ordinary unconsciousness is always linked in some way with denial of the now. Some people would always rather be somewhere else. Their here is never good enough. Like, they don't want to deal with it. They're like, man, it's too scary to, try to face what's going on. If I just kind of coward myself, and maybe they'll leave me alone, or they'll feel sorry for me and fall in line to my weaknesses and do my bidding, as opposed to me following my procedure and commitment into the responsibility towards that relationship. Any action is often better than no action. It's better to say something, even if it's fumble, bumble, mumble, like say something instead of say nothing, because it's the assertiveness and continued assertiveness and the practice of that continued assertiveness that is going to change and become more comfortable. So you're not going to be fumbling and bumbling the more that you actually take action instead of just, submit. So again, any action is often better than no action, especially if you have been stuck in an unhappy situation for a long time. If it is a mistake, at least you learn something, in which case it's no longer a mistake. If you remain stuck, you learn nothing. All you're doing is just complaining over and over. I wish, I wish, I wish. You know what I'm saying? You scared of failing, but it's already failing. You know what I'm saying? Just cut your ties and, call it through. You know what I'm saying? Because you can never fill something new and complimentary in if you still holding on to that same old baggage and keeping it extremely close. So then they're going to move forward and state, surrender is not a weakness. Just moving on, that ain't really like, you suck, or, you're a quitter. You know what I'm saying? If you already know that it ain't kind of working out so well, then it's okay to concede. You know what I'm saying? And then just kind of move on. Move on to, the next moment or the next opportunity. There is great strength in it. Only a surrendered person has spiritual power. Through surrender, you will be free internally. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know, like, that didn't really fit or work. So, you know what I'm saying? Even though you have to figure something out moving forward after the fact, once you understand that it can no longer be, or it no longer is, like, you ain't got to worry about that thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Now, new things are available to enter because you no longer have that crowded, insecure sourness attached to you. Are you stressed? Are you so busy getting to the future that the present is reduced to a means of getting there? Like, in the moment, you're like, man, I can't wait till they just leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. Get to the future. Then they'll, if they go away, they'll calm down, and then if they calm down, then I'll calm down, and then everything will be forgotten about, and then everything will be okay. Wrong answer. Stress is caused by being here but wanting to be there, or being in the present but wanting to be in the future. You know what I'm saying? When someone is addressing you, like, you're not really paying attention, you almost like a little kid, like, ears covered, la 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 la, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, except you're an adult. And you can't do that to grown people because there's more serious consequences as opposed to being like a little kid and going through a fit. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same thing. To create and live with such an inner split is insane. The fact that everyone else is doing it doesn't make it any less insane. Because when other people do it, you're like, man, that is dumb and they are immature. You know what I'm saying? But so are you. You know what I'm saying? Except you ain't caught at the moment. But if you was caught at the moment and they were poking fun at you, then you be mad at them or, feel a certain type of way, as far as, your confidence relinquishing because, you feel like, exposed. Observe the mind. Smile at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the goofiness and the character that's acting up or acting immature, and really recognize it. Like, smirk at it like, man, are you for real? Does the past take up a great deal of your attention? You know, right? Do you hold on to these extreme grudges to where it just overconsumes your thinking and your processing? Like, you just hell bent on holding on for revenge. The great things that you have achieved, your adventures or experiences, or your victim story, and the dreadful things that were done to you, or maybe what you did to someone else. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have a lack of confidence and a lack of goofiness and not having a strong trust for people to know that your commitments are authentic, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're no different than the people that you talk about that do the same thing, except since it's them, it's different. But for you, since you on the immature mind, like, you need to be validated by negligence and ignorance. You are not only reinforcing a false sense of self, but also helping to accelerate your body's aging process by creating an accumulation of past in your psyche. Like, you're so bogged down with worry and insecurity and high anxiety that you age yourself. You know, they always say in simple science, like, stress changes your blood chemistry, and that blood chemistry becomes erratic, and that erratic blood activity, like, causes diseases or sicknesses or pain to occur in your physical living. You know, you'll start to have, let's say, like, headaches, or your stomach is in knots, as they would use as an analogy. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that your blood activity is becoming irregular, and then that's causing for your organs to not function properly because of your high anxiety and nervousness. You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. So that's what worry is going to do, when you continue to feel that feeling. Ask yourself what problem you have right now. You know what I'm saying? When you go into that, like, child state manner and metaphorically speaking, kicking and screaming in your adult way, like, you have to be like a parent talking to your own self, like, yo, what's the problem? Like, what are we doing? Like, we need to pull out diapers and bottles, you know what I'm saying, pacifiers. Like, that's what we need to do. Don't do that, not next year, tomorrow, or 5 minutes from now. Do it immediately. Check yourself immediately. No different than, someone went in your locker, you know someone stole your stuff off of your personal being, whether it was your wallet that you dropped for a moment or whatever. Your locker wasn't locked and somebody opened it and you was missing something. Like, you're going to go and check somebody. Like, yo, somebody went into my stuff and I want to know who did it. Like, that's not how you need to address yourself when you are acting immature and going through childlike behavior and processing. You can always cope with the now but you can never cope with the future. Nor do you have to. If you handle the situation immediately, then you ain't got to worry about some future problem because it already got handled, or you have a sense of awareness in the is for what the situation tends to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already acknowledge it for what it is, and you already moved on because you already figured out your oh man, I got stuck on the word. You already made decisions. We'll just paraphrase it. You already made decisions in what to do. You know what I'm saying? You already had conclusions on understanding the situation, how it escalated to the point, addressing it, and knowing how you feel, and in all probability, what you're going to have to look into or address or change moving forward. Are you a habitual waiter? Habitual, consistently doing something regularly. In the example of a habitual liar, someone that always lies and rarely tells the truth. That's a habitual liar, a habitual waiter. Are you someone that is always waiting to speak up for yourself or even address yourself or deal with problems? You know what I'm saying? Or again, like I used the reference, I'm solution oriented. But are you problem based? It is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people just like you. But do you still want to be who you are in accordance with everybody else, with the rest of the cowards? Waiting is a state of mind. It basically is all about courage. You know what I'm saying? So you need to know what's important. No different than, you got to pay the rent and you have rent money in your wallet and somebody went in your personal possession that you left in a secure place and they found a way how to have access to it and they took your property. Like, that's how you need to address that. Basically, it means that you want the future, but you don't want the present. And that's if you lollygagging or being negligent or passive aggressive. You know what I'm saying? You just begging for there to be continued anxiety and problems. You don't want what you've got, and you want what you haven't got. It's a conundrum. It's you know what I'm saying? Like, you want your cake and eat it too. But first you got to be able to take care of this before you're able to get that. It doesn't work the way of being a coward and getting things and being able to not be in a state of fear anymore. With every kind of waiting, you unconsciously create the inner conflict between your here and now, where you don't want to be, and the projected future, where you want to be. This greatly reduces the quality of your life by making you lose the present. If you deal with it immediately, again, then there will be a future. But if you don't, the future that you probably are trying to aspire towards. But if you don't deal with those situations immediately, like you're continuing in a pattern of passive aggressiveness and lack of assertiveness, and the probability of you getting to where you think you deserve to be or where you plan to go, like, it ain't gonna get there. Your life situation consists of your circumstances and your experiences. There is nothing wrong with setting goals and striving to achieve things. The mistake lies in using it as a substitute for the feeling of life for being. You are then like an architect who pays no attention to the foundation of a building, but spends a lot of time working on the superstructure. You all focused about all the fancy designs and all that stuff outside and on top of the foundation, but if the foundation isn't solid, it's a house of cards. Like, that whole thing is going to implode or collapse. When you honor, acknowledge, and fully accept your present reality, where you are, truthfully, your insecurities and your shortcomings, once you honestly address that without having pity and sorrow, judgment towards yourself, you know what I'm saying, where you are, who you are, what you are doing right now, when you fully accept what you have got, you are grateful for what you have got, grateful for what is, grateful for being. The little things mean a whole lot more. I always say people that have a lot and never lost anything, they really don't understand value. The people that had things, took it for granted, created a situation to lose everything, hit rock bottom, and pull out of that through full conviction and honesty and awareness, those people are the resurrected or the enlightened who value every specific compliment. And things of possession, objects. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really would take pride in those things because you know what it is to have lost and found again. You know what I'm saying? That's the full resurrection. You know, the birth of Christ, the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ. Don't that sound familiar? The birth of Christ, the death of Christ, and the resurrection of Christ. So again, when you honor, acknowledge, and fully accept your present reality, where you are, who you are, what you are doing right now, when you fully accept what you have got, you are grateful for what you have got. Grateful for what is, grateful for being. Gratitude for the present moment and the fullness of life now is true prosperity. Then in time, that prosperity manifests for you in various ways. If you are dissatisfied with what you have got, or even frustrated or angry about your present lack, that may motivate you to become rich. But even if you do make millions, you will continue to experience the inner condition of lack. And that's because you are so superficial that no amount of money is ever good enough. You know what I'm saying? But if you had $1 million and you was wishing for $1 billion, and because of your foolish thought processing, you lost the $1 million and everything along with the $1 million. If you ever was to gain $1 million again, you would be satisfied with that $1 million. If you aren't, and you start having that superficial mind state again, there's going to be another fall. You may have many exciting experiences that money can buy, but they will come and go and always leave you with an empty feeling and the need for further physical or psychological gratification. You always need somebody to give you a gift, a prize, in order for you to be happy. You just can't be happy in being and happiness in being. Like, there has to be some objects of superficial importance that society deems has a level of value, and that temporarily is supposed to subside the feeling of incompleteness. You won't abide in being and so feel the fullness of life now. That alone is true prosperity. So let's go back a little bit to connect the full thought. You may have many exciting experiences that money can buy, but they will come and go and always leave you with an empty feeling and the need for further physical or psychological gratification. You won't abide in being and so feel the fullness of life now. That alone is your true prosperity. If you don't focus on the importance of the little things in life, like even the big things don't matter, because you're going to feel lonely regardless of how big or how small these objects and possessions of temporary gratification may be. The more you practice monitoring your inner mental emotional state, the easier it will be to know when you have been trapped in past or future, which is to say unconscious. You know what I'm saying? That autopilot needs to recognize that the clown is abusing it, and there's a deeper whisper that is telling to let it out, and they need to listen to that voice. But the conscious the clown is like, yo, that's an evil. Like, that's going to ruin everything that we got going. Like, don't listen to that. But what you really got going? Absolutely nothing but despair and high anxiety because of problems. So again, the more you practice monitoring your inner emotional mental state, the easier it will be to know when you have been trapped in past or future, which is to say unconscious, and to awaken out of the dream of the time into the present. But beware, the false unhappy self, based on mind identification, lives on time. It knows that the present moment is its own death, and so feels very threatened. It feels threatened by it. You know what I'm saying? It will do all it can to take you out of it. It will try to keep you trapped in time. When you are on a journey, and let me back up a minute. The inner purpose of your life's journey. That's the subtitle within the main title of the chapter. Again, mind strategies for avoiding the now. That's that conscious clown trying to minimize your moral self. When you are on a journey, it is certainly helpful to know where you are going, or at least the general direction in which you are moving, but don't forget, the only thing that is ultimately real about your journey is the step that you are taking at this moment. That's all there ever is. One step at a time. Focus on what's in front of you right now before you move on to the next thing right ahead of you. Your life's journey has an outer purpose and an inner purpose. The outer purpose is to arrive at the goal or destination, to accomplish what you set out to do, to achieve this or that, which of course implies future. But you need the now to get there. But a goal is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? That is a determination. But if your destination or the steps you are going to take in the future take up so much of your attention that they become more important to you than the step you are taking now, then you completely miss the journey's inner purpose, which has nothing to do with where you are going or what you are doing, but everything to do with how. It has nothing to do with future, but everything to do with the quality of your consciousness at the moment. Because if you're not focusing on what you got going on now, and you focusing too much on, where you want to be, well, I plan to be this and I plan to be this. Well, what do you need to do in order to get there? Because if you ain't doing those things right now and applying them that go in accordance to the direction of where you want to be, then you ain't never going to get to that destination. The outer purpose belongs to the horizontal dimension of space and time. The inner purpose concerns a deepening of your being in the vertical dimension of the timeless now. Because, the vertical is, you just keep on going up. You know what I'm saying? The horizontal, there's a beginning point, and then there's an end point, and then it's just going to revolve itself back around again and again, which is that merry-go-round, that hamster wheel of problems. Your outer journey may contain 1,000,000 steps. Your inner journey only has one. So your end destination, to get there, there is a lot of steps to get there. But if you're not focusing on what's in front of you, when you're looking at the 1,000 steps ahead, you see it as an endless journey. The step in front of you is the most possible to attain at the moment. Maybe even 2 steps, 3 if you're, in really great shape and practice in identifying forward thinking. You know what I'm saying? So again, your outer journey may contain 1,000,000 steps. Your inner journey only has one, the step you are taking right now. The sooner you realize that your outer purpose cannot give you lasting fulfillment, the better. When you have seen the limitations of your outer purpose, you give up your unrealistic expectation that it should make you happy, and you make it subservient to your inner purpose. If you delve into the past, it will become a bottomless pit. There is always more. Again, I said the hamster wheel of problems. You may think that you need more time to understand the past or become free of it. In other words, that the future will eventually free you of the past. But if you don't focus on the now, you ain't never going to be free, because you trapped in not dealing with what you had to deal with before. This is a delusion. Only the present can free you from the past. If you deal with the now from before, then that's going to finish that, and then you're able to move on to what's to be. More time cannot free you of time. Just continuing to be blasé and not address it and be passive aggressive and just hide under the rug and be scared to not face it, like, that's not going to make it disappear. You know what I'm saying? You just going to wind up creating an endpoint or a readdressing of the situation. It's inevitable. You know what I'm saying? You never really diffused it. It just keeps on going until you actually deal with it directly and then firsthand diffuse it. Deal with the past on the level of the present. Give attention to the present. Give attention to your behavior, to your reactions, moods, thoughts, emotions, fears, and desires as they occur in the present. There's the past in you. If you deal with them, then the past is going to wind up submerging back into where it belongs, not continuously in the present and definite to appear in a soon to be near future. Don't seek to understand the past, but be as present as you can. Forget about trying to figure out why it happened. You know what I'm saying? Figure out what you are going to do about it, because it already happened. You keep trying to figure out why it happened. You put in no time into trying to figure out what you're going to do about it. So then you stuck in a problem. The past cannot survive in your presence. It could only survive in your absence, which means you need to deal with it so you can get rid of it, and then it's no longer attached to you. It's just that simple. It's not really that complicated. You hold on to problems, or you choose to keep them because you don't want to deal with them. And by you not dealing with them, that's not somebody else's fault. It's your issue. You know what I'm saying? And those things are going to continue to carry and move along with you and interfere in these connections, in these relationships, until you really come into full honesty with the fact that you are a coward and you no longer want to move and act like a coward. You need to make it your responsibility to speak up on behalf of the deeper self that you want to survive, that you want to live, that you want to be. Happiness is your choice in thinking or being free from constricted thinking. So I really, really, really implore to really take a truthful inner approach to addressing exactly who you are and commit yourself to what you say you want to be. And then we'll be moving into that next chapter phase of what you say you want to happen. So the next chapter, when we come back, is the state of presence, which is the now. Once you've dealt with moving on from the past, we could deal with consistency in awareness of now and having many moments in the now, understanding how to commit to many moments in the now to materialize that future that you say is going to be yours. This is your neighborhood Sensei Fouché, telling all y'all to stay woke. But relax, and take notes. And if I messed up anywhere within the flow of the program, my apologies. And I'm not perfect, but I will be patient and follow through in pace to not overwhelm my thought processing and sharing. And if you need to go back and replay the episode in segments in order to fully absorb and engulf the information in its fullness and the overstatement of how important gratitude and acceptance is, when you decide to do that, you know what I'm saying, that's the beginning of the next phase of being in the presence towards this future that you are going to materialize more than it being just some random possibility. So be smooth. And tomorrow's another day. So be aware to be informed. 1.